zoom into the video. And then I can use the position sliders here to adjust the position of the video. But I can also just drag the video around here. If I drag it to the middle, you'll see a blue ruler appear, and that's telling me that the video is centered vertically. If I drag it down a little bit, it will also center horizontally here as well. So I'll drag it down a little bit to bring him to the middle of the frame. It's also worth mentioning that you can rotate your video here. If I take this little wheel and drag it, it will allow me to spin the video freely. I'll press Ctrl-Z to undo that, and I'm happy with this new framing. Now, we zoomed into the footage by adjusting our scale, but what if we wanted to create a zoom animation? We can do that by using keyframes. If I go up here to transform, you see this little diamond icon next to it. Once I click on it, you'll see in my clip in the timeline that there's a little blue keyframe that gets added to my video. Now, if I take my playhead and I go a little bit further into the video, and then I adjust the scale, for example, I'll bring it to the right to zoom in. And once I let go here, it's going to add another keyframe to my video. Now, when I take my playhead and I go back and forth between these keyframes, you'll see there's a small zoom animation happening. Anything within CapCut that has a diamond icon next to it can be animated with keyframes. Next, let's talk about adjusting the speed of your video. You can do that by clicking on the speed button here at the top. Then you can use this slider to speed up or slow down your footage. If I drag the slider to the right, it's going to speed it up. And if I drag it to the left, it's going to slow it down. Then you can also use the duration feature here to adjust your video's speed. Let's say, for example, this piece of footage had to be 7.5 seconds long. So if I highlight the numbers here, I can change this to 7.5 and then press enter. And now down here, that adjusted my video speed. Next, let's go up to the top here and click on animation. In here, we can add different animations to our video. We have in, out, and combo animations. These are kind of like transitions, but they're for individual clips. So if I click out here, and I'll just add the first one, which is TV off, I can click on it, and it's going to add an animation at the end of my clip. Similar to transitions, you can adjust the duration here at the bottom as well. So if I bring this down to, we'll say like 1 second, it will shorten that animation. Next, let's talk about adding filters and color correction to your video. Take my playhead here and I go back a little bit in the footage. Then I go up to the adjust button here. I can scroll down and do some basic color correction on my video. I can change the color temperature here. I could boost the saturation, and I can also make the video brighter by increasing the exposure. You also have access to a bunch of other settings here as well. Then to add a filter, go up to filters here in the top left, and then you can drag on any of these filters that you want. I'll take this filter here and I can drag it to its own video track, or I can drag it into the footage itself. I'll just let go of it here. And now that filter has been added to my video. Now let's add some music into our project here. To access CapCut's stock music library, go up to the top here and click on audio. Then you'll get access to CapCut's entire stock music library. If you want to preview a song, just click on the album cover here. I like this one, so to add it to my timeline, I'll simply drag and drop it underneath my footage here, and this will create a new audio track. With our audio selected in the timeline, let's check out the top right here, and we have some controls. We can decrease or increase the volume. We can fade in and out. We can normalize the loudness.
Do you
and
ever
if this
wish
was a
you played a
voiceover, we
part
can
in the
enhance our
tech
voice, do
revolution
an audio
before
translator,
it
we can
got
reduce
really
the background
big?
noise,
Like
we can
Facebook,
separate
when it was
the
a
audio,
Harvard student
or fill the
directory.
channel.
Amazon,
If I
when Jeff
take a look at
Bezos
my
ran it
music
from his
here,
garage.
you'll see these
Or
orange and red
ChatGPT,
dots.
before it became
This is our
the fastest
waveform,
adopted
and it's
software
telling us
in
that our
history.
audio is too
Well,
loud.
you
The red and orange dots mean that the audio
Do you
is
ever
peaking.
wish you'd
We can
played a
fix
part
this
in
by
the
going
tech
to the top right
revolution
and scrolling
before
up and
it
just
got
simply
really
decreasing
big?
the volume.
Like
You see, as I
Facebook, when it was
decrease
a
it,
Harvard
the
student
waveforms get
directory.
smaller.
Amazon.
I'll also add a slight fade in and fade out to the audio. Next, let's add some auto-generated captions to our video. To do that, we'll first need to import a voiceover. So let's go to Media here in the top left. And I'll click on Import here. And I'll upload this audio file here. And I'll drag it below my music here in my timeline to create a new audio track. Next, I'll take my playhead and I'll drag it behind this new audio layer here. And then I'll go up here and click on Captions. Here you can change some options between the spoken language, whether or not you want bilingual captions. You can auto-highlight keywords, add AI emojis, and identify filler words. Configure your settings here, and when you're ready, click on Generate. CapCut will automatically generate your captions for you. And then if I press play here, here's how you add captions to your video in CapCut. And just like that, captions have been added to the video. Now, if I take my playhead and I go back in my timeline a little bit, I'm able to see how my captions look. This is just the default caption style here within CapCut. To change how your captions look, you can go to the top right and edit everything here. If something is spelled wrong within your captions, you're able to highlight the word you want to fix and just retype it in here. You can also change the font if you want to, the font size. You can bold, underline, and italicize your captions. Choose if they're uppercase or lowercase. Change the color, the alignment, and they also have some preset styles here. The white captions kind of blend into the background, so I'll go for the yellow captions here. You can click on templates here at the top, and they have different templates available as well. So if I click on this one right here, and then I go back on my timeline and press play, here's how you add captions to your video in CapCut. Now they're actually animated and look way cooler. Now, what if you're not looking to add captions into your video, but you do want to add your own custom text? To do that, go up to text here at the top, and then drag on the default text to your timeline. Can't really see it there, so I'll drag it up into the sky here. And then on the right-hand side, you have all of the same customization options that you did with your captions. So for example here, I could change this to say, skiing trip. Then I can scroll down to the presets and find one that I like. I'll go for this one here. And you can also animate your text. With your text selected, click on animation. And here we have in, out, and loop animations. So for example, I could use this typewriter animation to make my text come in. Then I can click on out, and I can add a little fade out animation here if I want to. Now if I take my playhead and I go back to the beginning and press play, now I have some cool text that appears on screen with my captions. And with that done, I think I'm ready to export my video. To export your video, go up to the top right here and click on export. Here you can change the name of your video, where you want the video to export to. You can change your resolution, bitrate, codec, format, and frame rate. You also have some audio, GIF, and caption settings here down below. And once you're happy with all of your settings, click on this blue export button here to export your video. And just like that, you've edited your first video in CapCut. And don't forget to use the link at the top of this video's description to sign up for CapCut. And if you want access to all of CapCut's AI features, templates, assets, and more, make sure you upgrade to CapCut Pro. With that said, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.
This is our complete CapCut video editing tutorial for beginners. We show you exactly how to use the CapCut app, whether you're on Android, iOS, or iPad, so you can create amazing videos in the CapCut app really, really quickly. Now I'm going to take you through using an iPad because it's got a bigger screen, but the process is the same whether you're on an iPhone or an Android device. So this is what you'll see when you first open up the app. Now I am not signed in here. This is a free CapCut account, and that's what I'm going to be taking you through using. We have the ability here to create a new project. So we want to click on that. And then it's going to prompt us to select our footage. Now we don't need to pick all of our clips here. We just want to pick our primary camera footage. So I'm going to pick this clip here. It's then going to preview that for us. We can then select the little box here to select it. And we can hit add, and that's going to add it into our project. Now, if we don't want this entire clip here at this point, then we do have the ability to trim this down. So we can hit trim, and we can just select out the area of this video that we want. So we can grab these handles on the end, and we can adjust the start and the end times. And then when we hit the tick to apply this, that's now only going to bring in that specific section that we'd mapped out here into our project. I'm going to cancel this though. We're going to bring in this entire clip, and I'm going to choose add because we can do all of our editing. And this is what I prefer to do in the actual editing interface here, not in that little trim mode. So from there, you can see we've now got our project open up. We've got our main preview or display here of the video we're editing. Down the bottom here, we've got our timeline. This is where we can see all of our clips and everything happening down here. We've got our menu items down the bottom here. Now we can tap and swipe across here to see everything. And this is going to change. You'll see as we select on our clip here. So it's good to know that you can scroll across because there is a lot of options in here. Now, what you want to do here up front is set up your project format. So if we come up the top here to where it says 1080p, then we can choose our resolution or the quality of our video. So the default here, 1080p, is probably going to be fine for most people. But if you do want to increase that, you can see that we can increase this to 2K or 4K quality for our project as well. I'm going to leave this one at 1080. We can also make adjustments to our frame rates in here for our project as well. So if we just tap out of that now, the next thing we want to make sure that we have correct is our aspect ratio. Now this is going to be defaulting to whatever your footage is that you brought in. So we can see this is a widescreen clip that we have here. So our project has been created in widescreen. But if we don't want that, or we're bringing in different types of footage for what it is we actually want to create, then we need to lock this down here now. So we can come down the bottom to aspect ratio, and you can see we have the ability to either leave this as original, so whatever our default clip here was, or we can actually switch this for different types of footage. So we could create a portrait TikTok style video. There's different formats for YouTube and things, or we can go a really super widescreen format too. And you can see that if we did go portrait, it's actually squashed our clip down or shrunk our clip down at this point, in which case we can select on our clip and we can pinch to zoom on the screen there, and we can scale this up and move it around just by tapping and swiping until we have it to where we'd like it. So you want to make sure that you're getting this set up right first for the main video that you're going to be creating. So I'm going to leave this here back on original. So now that we've got that set up, we now want to start trimming down our main footage here in our timeline. There's a few different ways that we can do this. It's also worth noting before we get to that piece that we can pinch to zoom on this area down the bottom here to zoom in and out so that we can get more control over this. And we can also tap and swipe across this area to move throughout our footage. So let's say that, for instance, for this clip here, with it selected, we want to trim off the start of it. Maybe the first time that I started speaking here, I made a mistake and I want to remove that piece. We can just grab this handle here, this white area, and we can just tap and hold, and we can slide this back to where we want this to start. So let's say here. And when I let go or remove my finger, then that is now our new start point. Now we can also just hit play on this piece here, play through our video to find where that is that we want to make the cut. Again, a couple of different ways that you can do things. But now that we have the start trimmed, let's jump across to the end, swipe across, and you can see at the very end, two things are happening here. The first one, if we just pinch to zoom in here, is that you'll see that at the very end, there is this CapCut title card. You want to make sure that you're removing this. So you just select it, and then down the bottom here, you've got delete. We don't need to have that on there. I see a lot of videos where people forget to do that, and it's at the very end of their video. That's how you can remove it. But going back to our primary clip here, if we want to trim off the end, again, we can select the clip and we can use this handle here and we can drag it back to where we want this video to finish. So let's say we want it to finish here. We can then let go at that point, and our clip is now that long. Now we also have the ability to easily remove sections of our video too. So let's say that we're coming back here and I made a mistake here at this point. We could add a cut or a split in our clip here by pressing split. And you can see now we now have two clips at this point. So we could just select this first clip here, and we could then adjust the end point of that by dragging backwards to remove the section that we don't want. Or we also have the option to create multiple splits in our timeline. So let's say that we wanted to remove this section here. We can come down here, we can add another split at that point where that white line is. And you can see now we've got three clips here in this timeline. So we can just select the middle clip here and we can press delete, and that's going to be removed from our project that way. Again, a couple of different ways that we can do things. So you want to go through now, remove any bad takes, any mistakes, anything that you don't want to have in your actual finished video by using a combination of those methods that I just showed you. So using the splits and adjusting with these handles. So now that that's done, you'll see that we've got a bunch of little clips here in our timeline. And you can actually pick these up and move them around. So if you need to change the order, we can say press and hold on a clip, and we can just adjust where we actually want it to build out our story here. So know that these little chunks of footage are easy to move around as well. Now that we have our primary footage in and we've removed all of our bad takes and mistakes, now we can go ahead and add in some B-roll or overlay footage, some stuff to be shown on top of me talking in this case. So we can come down here to overlay and we choose add overlay, and then we can go ahead and pick some more clips. So I'm going to pick this one here and I'm going to choose add. So now if we have a look in our timeline here, we've got our primary camera footage here across the top, and we've now got just sitting underneath it here, our B-roll or our overlay footage. And while it's underneath it in the timeline here, it's actually sitting above it here in our project. But we can also see that this has brought it in a little bit smaller than we would actually normally like it. So we can just tap on it and we can pick it up, we can move it around, we can pinch to scale it. So if we only want a small little section in the top corner, then we have the ability to do that. Or in a lot of cases, we'd actually want to make this full screen at that point. So we can scale it up so that it fits. But just like our other clips, we've got our handles on either side of the clip here where we can adjust the start time and the end time of our clips. So let's say that we wanted this one to start about here where it moves. And let's say that we wanted it to end here, then I can easily make that adjustment. And this clip here, we can just tap and hold on it, and we can pick it up and move it around here in our edit, wherever we would like it. So if we take a look at this now, we've got me talking on camera. And then at this point, we're now showing off this Insta360 Link webcam, and then it cuts back to me talking. So we can then go ahead and add in another overlay clip. We could either pick a different one here, or we could even pick the same clip again, but use a different section of it. So again, we'll scale this up, pinching to zoom, and we can just then pick out a different section of this that we would like. Now, it's also worth noting that we can use our other tools here too, like the split clip function. So let's say we wanted to add a cut here at this point. We can press split down the bottom corner, and we've now got this first clip here as a separate clip. So we could then mark out where we wanted another piece of footage here, maybe like this bit, and adjust the end of that too. And then we can pick them up and move them to where we'd like them. Now, once we're done adding in our B-roll or our overlay clips here, we just hit back, and it's actually going to change our view a little bit. So we can see we've now got these icons here with these red lines. This is showing us that we do have overlay footage at this point, but we're not seeing it layered up. If we want to change this, we can just tap on it, and that's going to open up that overlay mode or the overlay editor here again. And when we deselect it and click back, then we're back to our compressed view. So now that we've got our overlay or our B-roll footage here as well, and that could be graphics, it could be animations or anything else you'd like to add. Next thing we want to do is add in any text. So let's come back to the start of our project here. And let's say at the start here, we want to bring up a title with my name on it. So we can come down here to text. And again, it's something where there's lots of different options in here, but we can either add basic text or there are some text templates too. So if we just want basic text, I'm going to go add text. Get a text box that shows up here. We can change what the text says down the bottom here. So we could say Justin Brown. We can then choose our fonts. You can see that we've got a mix here of free and pro ones here too. So obviously anything that's marked as pro, you will need to be on their pro plan, but there's still quite a few in here that we can choose from the free options as well. So maybe we'll run with something like this for this video. We can also customize up different styles, effects, and you can see there's just so many options in all of this. Again, a mix of free and paid. We can even easily add in any animations to the text here as well. So you can see if we scroll down, we've got some free options in here, like a fade in, a typewriter. Maybe we'll run with the typewriter. And then there's some other presets and effects and things in here too. And all of these are easily customizable. But at the top here, we can again pinch to zoom to resize. We can press and hold on it to move it around to where we'd like. It's really easy to configure this stuff up. When we're happy with this, we can just hit the little tick here to apply that. And we can see that now in our timeline, we now have our text layer here too. If I zoom in on this, let's pinch to zoom on this. You can see that we can, again, pick this up. We can move it around to where we'd like. We can tap on it. We can extend it out. So if we want it on screen for longer, that's really easy to do. We could even cut it and split it in half if we liked. We can also see here that we have that type on effect. We added an effect or an animation to the start of this clip, which is this arrow here that's showing us that we have that. With this selected, we can make changes to this afterwards as well. So we can come down here to animations, and you'll see that we have an in animation, so an animation at the start. We have an out animation if we'd like to add one, so at the end of the clip, or we could actually have an animation that's looping the whole time, just on repeat. So we already have an in animation, which was the typewriter one. Maybe we'll pick an out animation. Let's pick this one here, slide right, and we'll hit the tick to apply that. And you can see we've got our animation here at the start, and we also have an animation at the end. So if we just take a look at what this looks like, we've got the typewriter effect in, it stays on for however long we'd like, but then right at the end of that, it then flies out to the side. Really, really simple. Now, the other option for titles, we're back here under text, and then we had the text templates. And you can see in here, again, we've got a bunch of different animated text and titles that we can then bring into our project and customize up. These are broken down into these tabs. Here we've got trending, pro, lots of different options. And again, we can swipe across to access even more categories in here. But there's lots of things in here like YouTube subscribe buttons and things we can add. But I'm just going to go ahead and pick this one here. For example, we just tap on it and you can see it's going to play it out here. But all of this, again, is customizable. So we can change this text here where it says new chapter. We could write something like day 326. And that's life updates by Olivia. Sure, we can customize up this piece too. Life updates by Justin. Again, we can scale this up. We can scale it down. We move it off to the side here. And then when we hit the tick to apply this, we now have it here in our timeline that we can preview, and it's going to animate in. So I just love how easy this is to create something amazing really, really quickly. And as we go through, definitely check out the links down in the description box below as well. We've got a bunch of other resources down there to help you create better videos faster, links to where you can get music and stock footage. And we've even got a deeper dive CapCut course for those of you wanting more at the end of this video. So now that we've added any text or titles into our project, next we can add in any transitions or effects. So in the case of this here, where we've got a cut in our timeline, you can see we've got two clips here. These are both the same camera angle, same shot. So if we play through this, you'll see there's just that jump, that awkward little cut. There's nothing wrong with that. And we do a lot of that for our YouTube videos. It's perfectly fine. But if we did want to add an effect between two clips, then this little white box here, if we press on that, then we can add in a transition. Again, you'll see there's lots of different ones in here. But if we wanted something like this one here, a fade to black, or even some of these pro ones, an old film look, a wiggle or a shake. I like how you can just tap on them here and it's going to preview them for you. But these are so easy, again, to add in. Just be mindful that you can't use the pro ones on your free projects. But all we need to do is select our effect here and hit the tick, and that's now on that clip. So if we scroll through that, we can see that that effect is shaking it as it switches between the two clips. Now, normally for a shot like this, where it's pretty much the exact same clip on either side, we wouldn't normally use a transition. So I'm going to select on that, and I'm just going to choose none here to remove that. Instead, what we would do is zoom in on one of these two. So let's pick this second clip here. I want to come up here to where we can scale this. I'm going to pinch to zoom in this section to make it a little bit bigger. Now, I do want to try to line up my eyes in a similar position so it's less jarring. But now you'll see that if we scrub through this, instead of there being an effect, it just kind of jumps in or zooms in, almost like it was a separate camera angle or something. We've found this to be a much more effective way of easily breaking up your footage, keeping engagement without it being such a hard, jarring cut between two clips. Now, in terms of other effects and things that we can add, if you select a clip, there are so many things that you can do in here. So just looking down the bottom, we can adjust the speed. So if we want to speed up or slow down a clip, then we can do that here. We can add some movement or some animation to our clips here by clicking on animations. And again, this is where we can add at the start of our clip, at the end of our clip, or happening throughout. So very much the same as we saw earlier. We also have a dedicated area here just for effects as well. And these are broken down into visual effects or body effects. So if we open up body effects first, this is where it's going to detect your body if there's someone in there, and we're able to add some effects based on that. So you can see we're able to add some lightning and some flames and stuff here. So it's pretty cool how it has this, but a lot of these ones here are on the paid pro version of CapCut, which again, we've got a link down in the description box below if you want to check that out too. So these are the body effects. I'm just going to go none on these. But if we go to video effects, then there is just so many other effects in here, different looks, different things we can apply. And you can see just by tapping on them, what they'll actually do to your shot. I'm just going to hit none on these, hit the tick. So we're not applying any effects at this point, but you can see how easy it is. There's also the ability in here to remove the background from your video as well. So if you want to do a background replacement, have an image or a graphic or something in there, then on the pro plan now, there's auto background removal too, where it will take that out for you. And you can see that it does a decent job. Once you've added in all of your effects and transitions and things, next we can go ahead and add in any music or sound effects into our video. I'm going to come across back to the start here. And then down the bottom here, we've got audio. So in here, we can see that CapCut does have its own sound library, but I'd be very mindful about using anything that is in here, especially if you're using them outside of places like TikTok. So if you want to upload them to YouTube, you might be opening yourself up to some potential issues with copyright and stuff. So while they have tracks in here, I personally wouldn't recommend that you use them. Instead, we get our music from Artlist or Epidemic Sound or even Creator Mix. Those are our top 3 right now. And again, I've got links in the description to help you with all of this stuff too. But we also have the ability in here to record our voiceover as well. So if you want to do a narration, we can hit this here. But if you are using music from another place, like I would recommend, then there is a little workaround to get that in here. On an iPhone or an iPad, we need to go ahead and find that music file on our device. So I'm going to open up Files, and I've got this music track here that we downloaded from Epidemic Sound. I then want to choose Share, and I want to share this music track over to CapCut. And then we can choose Import Audio to CapCut. And we now have our music track here that we know we are legally compliant because we've got it from Epidemic Sound here in this video. And we can see too, we get a preview of the audio waveforms here. So we can see the quiet bits, the loud bits of the music too. Now, just like any other clip, we have the ability here to select on it. We can trim off the start or the end. We can add cuts in it. We can pick it up. We can move it around. So again, you've got that same flexibility and control in here. So now that we've added our music track in, you might find that as you're playing through your video, you're going back and you're adding some minor cuts so that your edit matches the music or the music matches the edit. So we can go back through, we can make any minor tweaks or adjustments to make all of that match. And then we're going to dive in and get our volume levels sorted. So straight away, what I'd like to do is go ahead and mute anything that's not our primary footage. So we're going to select our music track here. I'm just going to come down to volume and I'm just going to mute this. We're going to drag this right down to 0. All right, so we're not able to hear the music. And I want to select our first clip in our timeline here, and let's get that set right first. Now, this is something that CapCut does do a good job of automatically setting the volume level for you. But if we do need to make adjustments, we can select the clip, we can come down here to volume, and we can either increase the volume or lower the volume, depending on what we're after. You'll see here, there's also an option here for loudness adjustment, which is on the Pro plan. If we click on that, it is going to make an automatic adjustment there for us. And I recommend that when you are making audio adjustments and you're playing back through, that you are doing this with headphones on, so you get a good representation of what it actually is going to sound like afterwards. So we can increase or lower our volume here. When we're done, we hit the tick to apply it. And we can go through here on a clip by clip basis if we need to make those audio adjustments. Once the volume on your primary camera footage or your spoken pieces, your voiceover is sorted, then that's where we're going to jump down here and adjust the music so that we can hear it, but so that it's not too loud or overpowering. So that's when we select it, we come down here to volume, and this is where we're increasing it to the point where it sounds good for what we're after. Remember, this is art. There is no right or wrong with this. What we normally find is anywhere from maybe around 25 to 33, depending on the music track, seems to be a good starting point. Then we can hit the tick to apply that. And now that our volume levels are done, the last thing we want to do here is tweak the colors in our videos, make any adjustments to the color grading or the overall look. So for that, we've got a couple of options. Again, we can select our first clip here, which is where I'd recommend that you're making your adjustments straight up. And then we can either come down here to adjust or to filters. So filters, we can think of these like Instagram filters and different looks that we can apply. So you can see that we can totally change up the look of our video just by applying some of these filters. And you might find that you're able to get exactly what you're after just by using some of these presets. We also have the ability though, with a preset here or a filter, to adjust them afterwards. So we can see that we can adjust the strength of this. We can make it more intense, or we can lower that down here too. But we can also dive into the more advanced controls here under adjust, and we can tweak things further. So we can start with the filter if we want, make those adjustments, or we can actually just jump straight in here without applying a filter. So if we go back to filters, let's go to none. So we're not applying any filter, and we can show you that if we're back here. Instead of picking filters this time, we can pick adjust, and we're now into this area. Now, if you are on the Pro version, you can see that there's an auto adjust here, which does work really well. Just from one tap, one click, and it's going to automatically adjust the colors for you. It's actually really amazing. Let's go reset on that one though. But the main ones, if you're going to do this manually, First off, I'd look at your brightness. So let's make it brighter or darker using this slider. I then jump into the contrast. And again, we can see what this does by moving this slider. So let's add a little bit more contrast to that there. Then I jump over to temperature to fix the white balance from our footage. You can see we can make it more blue or warmer, adding a bit more orange or yellow into the scene here. So maybe we'll add a little bit more warmth. And then the last one I play with would be the saturation. So the intensity of it. Obviously, we don't want to go too far with this. It'll look terrible. We can boost the colors a little bit here. Maybe something like this. Now, this right now is only going to apply these changes to that first clip, but we do have the option here to apply this to all of our remaining clips. It's by tapping this, you can see that that's been applied. And now if we go back out of this, they've all got that exact same look applied to them. Once you're done with that, it's then time to save or to export your video. Again, we can double check here in this section that our settings are how we want them. So our resolution that we set at the start, 1080p, we've got our frame rate here as well. But this one here, the code rate or the bit rate, if we want to have the highest quality video, then we can increase this here up towards the high end. And you can see that it's now giving us a larger file size, but it's also going to be higher quality. Same works back the other way. If you need a smaller file to email or something, then we can shrink that down here too, but it's going to lower the quality of the video. Now, the last one here, this is really important because there is now a watermark on the free version of CapCut, but we can remove it. We need to do that here before we export our video out. So if we choose here, it says CapCut, then we can either choose the position of it from where we actually want to have it in the video, or we can actually choose to hide it. And it says here that we can hide it for 7 uses, and that's 7 uses or 7 videos per month. So I'm going to choose to hide it. So you can see now there is no watermark at all on here. We can then go back. We can then choose export, and our video is then saving out at this point without a watermark. Now, obviously, to unlock the full capabilities of CapCut, there is the Pro plan available, which is actually pretty reasonable considering what you're getting access to, all the effects and presets and things. And obviously, if you want to export more than 7 videos per month, but you can also see that the free version is still really, really capable too. Now that you're up to speed with CapCut, if you want to take things to the next level, we do have a dedicated deep dive training taking you from beginner to YouTuber in less than 4 hours. There's links to that in the description box below. There's also a bunch of other resources and things down there to help you even further as well. Things like finding royalty-free music so that you know you're compliant, don't have any legal issues with the videos you're creating. All of that stuff is in the description box, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers. You're about to learn how to use CapCut for PC and Mac in this complete CapCut tutorial. We're going to go through step by step everything you need to know so you can get up to speed in the CapCut video editor fast. Now, I'm going to take you through on a Mac using the free version of CapCut, but the process is exactly the same on PC as well. So I'm over in CapCut now, and this is what you'll see when you first open up the app. You can see we've got access to our most recent projects down the bottom here. And then to start a new project, we just want to click up the top here, create project. So this is the main CapCut editing interface. We've got access to a lot of our different tools and things up the top here. This will make more sense as we go through. This area here is our playback monitor. This is where we can preview our video we're editing. We've got some more advanced options and controls and things that will show up in this area here. Down the bottom here is our timeline. This is where we will actually be editing and moving our clips around. And you'll see that a lot of these panels and windows and things, they're actually customizable. We can scale these up and down to customize this up for our own personal preferences. Now, a couple of things we want to do straight up is get our project set up. So we want to come over here and hit modify. And this is where we can give our project here a name. So I'll call this JB Edit. And then you can see we can customize up our project from here in terms of the aspect ratio, so the type of video we want to make, and even the video resolution, so the quality of the video that we're going to make. Now, what I would suggest, though, is that we actually leave this on original and on adapted, and that's going to auto-detect these settings for you based on the first clip that you import into your project. You can also change things like your frame rate and your color space. And I would say for most people, if you don't know about this stuff, you can probably just leave it as default. But if you need to pick a specific frame rate to match the footage that you're going to be editing, then you can do that here. Then I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and our project is now set up and ready for us to import some footage. So we want to make sure that we've got import selected in the top corner here, and we want to choose import. We then want to go ahead and pick our primary camera footage first. And that again is going to set our project up to match those settings. So in this case here, I've got my file here, camera recording. I'm just going to import that first one first, and we can bring our other files in afterwards. So I'm going to choose import. We can then see we've got our file here ready for us to edit. And then when we want to edit this, we can just click and drag this down into our timeline here, and that will bring that entire clip in for us. So if you've got multiple clips at this point, we can drag them all down manually onto the timeline. Or if we only want a section of this clip in the timeline here, let's go ahead and select on this. Let's just press delete on the keyboard, or we can hit the little trash icon here to remove that. If we just wanted a section of that, we can select on the clip here, and then we can grab these little handles here on either side of this clip, and we can adjust the start time or the start point. So let's say about here, and the end time, maybe about here. And now if we hit this little plus button or we click and drag this clip down, it's only going to bring in that specific section that we had highlighted. So I'm going to come back here. We're going to stretch this out. We want to bring in that entire clip again. Let's drag it down onto our timeline, and we can trim it down from this area here. Now you also see that once we've got a clip down in the bottom here, we also get access to a bunch of other settings. So we can zoom in and out on this timeline here to get more precise with our editing. We can also change the way our clips behave here in the timeline with these next 3 settings here. So we've got an option here for linking our clips together, for snapping our clips together if we're moving them around, and even what they call here a magnet, where it'll close up any gaps here that you have in the timeline. So it's good to know about these things, and they will make more sense as you progress with your editing. But in terms of trimming this clip down, let's zoom in a little bit more on this clip so we get more detail. And you can see here, we've got a preview of the clip itself. So these little thumbnail images here. And we can also see below that is what's called our audio waveforms. This is our visual representation of what has been said, in this case of the audio in this video. So we can clearly see the pieces here, which are quiet. There's nothing happening here. And if we click this little white line here, this playback indicator, and drag through, you can see that we're getting that preview here of wherever this is lined up with. So we can see here that there's no audio here, no one talking, and we can see that obviously here as well to match until we get to this point. And then I start to make some noise. I'm probably testing the microphone and things. So we want to either hit play here to play through to find where we want this clip to start, or we can just click and drag this slider through until we work out where our video will start, which it looks like it's going to be right around here just before I start talking. So we can either then come back here and we can grab this little handle here at the start of our clip, and we can drag it back to that point there. And when we release that, that's going to start our clip and our video at that point. So we've trimmed off the start of that clip. We can also then do exactly the same if we scroll all the way across to the end of our video. Let's say we want to trim off the end. And it looks like, again, looking at the audio waveforms here, the bulk of the audio finishes about this point here. We can scrub through and take a look and see. There we go. I finished the video here. There is some other audio sections here. I'm just talking to myself, stopping the recording. So we want to trim off all of this stuff here at the end. So we want our video to finish about here. We could again grab that handle at the end of our video and drag that back to trim that off. Or if I undo this, let's hit the little undo button here, I could also cut the clip at that point. So if we come up here, we have this split clip button here, which we can also see is the keyboard shortcut for Command B or Control B. So we can press on that, and it's now split our clip in 2. So we could then just select this second clip, press delete on the keyboard, and that clip is gone. So let's just say that we wanted to remove this little gap here in our timeline where I finished one take and then I'm about to start the next one. We could just bring our playback head here to this point here. We could again make sure our clip is selected. We could press the Command B or the split button here to split our clip at that point. And we could just select this clip now, and let's drag the end of that clip back. And you can see that it's actually moving this last clip along with it. It's closed up that gap for us. So you can see with editing, there's a few different ways to do things. And sometimes it's going to make sense to do things one way, other times the other. There's also some really powerful editing shortcuts in here as well. Let's say that we want to remove this next gap here right through to where I start talking at this point here. We're going to split our clip at this point because we want to keep this piece. We could just click and drag the end of this one back to where we want it. Or if I undo that now, we can actually just find that place here by, again, clicking and playing through our clip. So let's just say it was about here. We can then use the function here, delete left or delete right. So in this case here, we want to delete everything to the right of this white playback indicator up to our next cut. So I can just press this button here, delete right, or it's the keyboard shortcut W on the keyboard. We can press that one key and that action is performed for us. And the exact same will work back the other way. Let's say that we have a cut in our timeline here and we want to remove all of this stuff here through to this point here. We can trim to the left, which is Q on the keyboard, or the other icon up here as well. And that's going to do the same thing. It's going to effectively cut our clip, remove this clip here, and close up the gap just by pressing Q on the keyboard. So again, you can see multiple ways to do things. So the idea here now is that you want to go through, you want to remove any bad takes, any mistakes, so that you're just left with your primary footage. Okay, so if we zoom back out on this, now we've gone through, we've added all of our cuts to the timeline. Now these clips, or these chunks of footage, we can actually pick them up and we can move them around, change the order of them as we need to help build out the story. But once that piece is done, we want to go ahead and we want to import any B-roll or overlay footage into our project. So again, we want to come up here to import. We can hit the little import button here. And in this case here, I'm going to bring in a couple of extra clips. We can select multiple clips in here by holding down Control or Command. And let's hit import. And then the process for bringing this down into our timeline is exactly the same. We can select on the clip to play it up here. We could just click and drag our entire clip down into the timeline and trim it and everything down the bottom here. Or we could mark out the section of the clip that we want at the top here and just bring in that section. So for this clip here, I'm just going to shorten it right up. Let's just choose out the area that we want. So maybe we'll start this clip around here and we'll have it play through until about here. Shorten this up a bit. Now, maybe we want to bring in our next clip up here. We can just click and drag this down into our timeline. Again, a very big clip. We probably could have shortened it down at the top here as well. But let's say that we just want the start of this clip here, and we can bring it back to about here. And we can trim off the end of this clip here, delete to the right, and we're now left with just that section of the clip. And again, this is something that we can pick up, we can move around to build out our story. So in this step, you want to go through, you want to bring in any B-roll, any overlay clips into your project. It's also worth noting at this point that these clips here, we can see that they have audio on them as well. So what I find is easier, because we're going to deal with volume levels and things a little later in the process, is just to mute the audio on those for now. So we can mute the audio on this entire track. So any clip on here that has sound, we're going to mute it until we're adjusting our volume levels later. Next up, we'll go ahead and add any text into our videos. So we want to come up here to text. And then in here, we have a couple of options. The standard way to get text in is just this default text box that we can click and drag down to our timeline. We get to choose where we want to put it, but let's just put it down here. And then we can double click on it to make sure that our options here are coming up for this. And we'll see this over on the side. We can then enter our text. So I've got here Justin Brown. Now to preview this, we do need to make sure that our playback head here, this white line again, is over that area so that we're able to see it. And we can customize this up from here. So we've got things like font size. Let's make it bold. We could probably change the font here to Oswald, which is our Primal Video font. We can change the colors. We can customize this up. There's a bunch of presets and things in here that we can use as well. But we can also pick it up. We can move it around. We can scale it up and down all quite easily from here. So that's basic text, but we can also add animation to that basic text under the animation tab up the top here. Now, all throughout CapCut, you're going to see a lot of these little pro labels. These are effects and animations and things that are only available to you if you are on the pro plan. If you're on the free plan, like I'm showing you here now, then you just want to make sure that you're using any that doesn't have the pro label on it. So let's say this typewriter effect, if we want to use it, we can just select on it. And our clip now is going to have that effect applied. So right now, this is set to 0.5 seconds. So it's very quick. Maybe we'll stretch this out. And it's going to give us another preview now. So this is an in animation. This happens when the clip comes onto screen. We can also have an animate out. So at the end of this, maybe we had this on screen for longer, stretch it out. So we can see here that we've got this in animation that is happening, and then it's static on screen. Right now, it's just set to disappear at this point. But if we wanted it to animate out, that's what this out animation is. So maybe we could have it slide down at the end, and it's for 2.6 seconds, so pretty quick. Then it's going to slide down. Very simple. So that's your basic text here, but we can also go here to text templates. And in here, there's a lot of animated text titles and effects and things that we can use. You can see that there is quite a lot here that are marked as pro, but there's still quite a lot of free ones in here as well. So let's say that we wanted this one here, this big title. We can just click and drag that down into our timeline. If we just play this now, you'll see this animation, right? So pretty simple. But again, if we've got it selected, we can come over here, we can customize it up. Primal video, but maybe we would just scale this down and maybe put it up in the top corner or something. So you want to go ahead now, add in any text or titles into your videos. And then when that's done, the next step is to add in any effects and transitions. So with our B-roll clips that we have here in our timeline, so we've got this one here of the rowing. If we didn't just want that to appear on screen, if I play this now, you'll see it just appears. There it is. There's nothing wrong with that. But if we did want to add some sort of transition or animation to get that on screen, with that selected, we can come up here to animation. And again, we've got a bunch of little transitions here that we can use. So for example, we've got this slide right. There's also a slide left. There's a mix of free and paid options in here as well. There are some zoom transitions. If we scroll down, you'll see that there's a lot in here to choose from. Some of them are pretty awesome. Some of them could make your videos look pretty cheap. So don't overuse these would be my word of warning. But in some cases, they can really add to the video or the story that you're trying to tell here. So that's adding a transition to your B-roll or overlay clips with the clip selected coming up to animation. But for any clips that are on your primary timeline layer, like our primary footage down the bottom here, we want to come up here to transitions. And again, you've got a very similar set of effects and transitions and things that you can apply. So if we wanted this pull in effect here to be between our two clips here, you can see that we just click on that and it's going to preview that for us, or pull out. We can just click and drag that down, and you can see the default here is to place it between these two clips. So we can place it anywhere at the join of two clips to transition between the two. Now, in the case of our video here, where our footage is the same camera, we're not switching between different cameras, we're not switching between different footage, it's all pretty much exactly the same. I wouldn't normally use a transition or an effect here to transition between two things that look exactly the same. Instead, what I would do is I would zoom in on one of these clips to remove that hard cut or that hard jump where maybe I've removed a mistake or something, this jarring little jump. I would remove it by zooming in on one of these clips. So I'm just going to pick one of these clips. I'm going to come up here to video. And then in here, we've got this scale setting. So I would scale this up a little bit. Now, depending on how you've shot this, you don't want to go overboard. You might be losing quality. But if you're only zooming in or scaling up a little bit, it's going to be fairly unnoticeable. And I'd also try to position it so my eyes in this case are in a similar position between the two shots. So let's just try around here. Let's just now come back. This is the first shot. We're going to play through. It then jumps to the next shot. So we can see here, the shots now look a little bit different. The eyes aren't in the same position. So maybe I'll try to get them a little closer. So it's not perfect, but it is so much better than just a hard cut. So you can easily go through your shots here and you can apply this scale or this zoom transition here, this zoom effect onto any of your clips to help break up your story. Now, in terms of other effects and things that we can add in to make our video look better at this point, if we come over here to effects, this is an area where CapCut has so many of these things built in. And again, a good mix of free and paid. So you can see just under effects, we've got things like fade in, fade out. So if we wanted to fade in our video at the start, we could just drag that effect down onto our clip here. And it's now going to fade our video in. Likewise, if we keep scrolling down here, we've got different zoom effects. We've got this like cinematic horizon opening. We can apply that one here. And let's remove our fade in. Let's see what this looks like. So I'm sure some of you have seen this effect before. So there's so many in here, and there's even different body effects and things. So let's just grab this hurricane one. Let's drop it down to our clip here and see what this looks like. All right, so it's detected my body in this clip, and it's now got this light that is flying around. Let's select on that and remove it. We've got another one here, stroke. Let's put that one down here. You can see now as we get to this clip, it makes it darker and there's an outline around me. So I like how easy it is to just drag and drop these effects onto your timeline and onto your clips to help take your videos to the next level. Now, other effects that you might want to add, if we've got a clip selected in our timeline here up the top, this is where we've got things like stabilization. So this will help you stabilize any shaky footage and make it smooth. There's a lot of extra AI tools and things in here as well, like background removal if we want to remove the background of our video. We've got speed controls up here as well, where we can speed up and slow down our clips. All of that stuff you can find up in this area. Once you've gone through and you've added in all your effects and transitions, then next up, we're going to add in any music or audio, sound effects into our video. So we can come up the top here to audio, and CapCut does have a bunch of sound effects and music and stuff built in. Now, I would say with the music, if you're uploading to places that aren't TikTok, then you could have some licensing issues. So because CapCut is owned by the company that makes TikTok, a lot of the licenses to use this stuff are all good for TikTok. But regardless, whenever there is audio built into an editing tool, I'd much rather know that I owned the copyright or the right license so that I'm not going to have any issues. So that's where, for us, we go to places like Epidemic Sound and Artlist for music and for sound effects. So I'm going to go ahead here and import a music track that we've downloaded from Epidemic Sound, and then we can drag this clip here down into our timeline. And we can see that it shows up just as a regular clip would. We can see that we can adjust the clip here. We can adjust the start time, the end time. We can add cuts and splits to really create the music or the audio mix here that we'd like. But let's come across to the end of our video here, and let's trim off the end of this so that it finishes when our video does. So we can press trim the end, delete to the right here. And we also have the ability to add a fade in and out quite easily here. So with this music track selected, we can come across, you see that little circle that appears there. If we select on the circle and then drag back to the left, we can choose how long we want this to fade out over. So let's just go here, probably around 1 second fade out. Likewise, if we want our music to fade in at the start, we've got that same little circle there that we can click on to have a short fade in for our music too. The process is exactly the same to add in any sound effects. We just click and drag them down into our timeline where we would like them. Now, once we've got our music tracks down here, you might find that you want to go through and make any minor adjustments to your overall video here to have the music match the beat, again, depending on the type of edits that you're making. So you want to go through and make any of those adjustments, and then we're going to dive in and adjust our audio levels. And this is where, first off, the most important piece with a video like this, where we do have a talking head, it's a great picture, or someone narrating, we want to make sure that that primary audio is set at the correct level first. And then we want to bring in any of our music tracks and everything after that, making sure that our spoken piece can be heard and isn't being drowned out by any music or sound effects. So what I like to do first here is, now that we have our music track in, we're going to go ahead and mute that track just the same as we did with our B-roll track at the top here. So the only thing that we'll hear here when we hit play is our primary footage here. And we want to make sure we're getting this track or these clips set right first, and then we'll adjust our music and sound effects second. Now, what I recommend for this piece is that you are ideally doing this with headphones on so that you can truly hear what this is going to sound like. But I like to start work on the first clip here first, and then we can apply any of the changes that we make to the remainder of our clips. So with this first clip selected, we can see that we have this volume bar, this white line that runs across the middle of all of our clips. We can just click and drag on that and drag up, and that's going to make our audio louder. And if we pull it down, it's going to make it quieter. Very simple. But what we can actually see is that our audio waveforms here have adjusted as well. And you can see that when we make this volume louder, we're starting to get some yellow sections, some red sections. And the louder I make it, the more of those yellow and red we're seeing. What we want to do here is make sure that we're not hitting that red. It's okay to go into the yellow section, but we really don't want our audio hitting that red section. That means it's too loud and it's distorting. So I like that we get this visual indicator here to see our audio waveforms to make sure that we are getting close to that without actually hitting it. So somewhere around here, we've got a couple little bits here in the yellow, but nothing in the red. Now, if that's too fiddly for you, or you're working on a small screen with that clip selected, we can also come up here to audio, and we've got that same slider bar here, which will do exactly the same thing. So then once we've got that set correctly, so in this case here, we're going to go minus 3.5 decibels. We could then zoom out here. We could select the rest of our clips here just by clicking and dragging with our mouse, and we could apply the same. come up here to audio, and let's make this minus 3.5. So now all of our clips here are set exactly the same. Now, obviously, if we wanted to make a clip louder or quieter, we could do that on an individual clip by clip basis. But knowing that this was same camera, same microphone, these are all going to be the same. It's also worth noting that up in this top audio area here, there's other filters and things that we can apply as well. There is a setting here to normalize the loudness to make all of your clips the same volume. There's an option here to enhance your voice if you are on the Pro version, where it will do things like remove the background noise and make your audio sound better. So there is a bunch of more advanced controls in here too. But now that we've got our volume set right for our primary footage, this is where I go ahead and I would unmute our music track, and I would follow the same process. I would start with this at a lower volume. Usually what we find is minus 30 to minus 20. So in this case, let's go around minus 24. I would then hit play again on this with headphones on, and I would make sure that it was at the volume level for what I wanted in this video. Something not too loud, not too overpowering, but still something that could be heard. Because again, this is a creative art. There really is no right or wrong with this. And exactly the same for our B-roll clips. If we wanted to have that audio, I would unmute that and I would make adjustments to those clips to hear that background noise from those clips too. Now that we have our audio and our volume levels locked down, next I would be color grading or adjusting the colors in any of my clips. So again, we're going to start off with our first clip here. We can then either jump across to the filters area and think of these like Instagram filters that we could apply our look to our video. Again, there's a bunch in here, free and paid. We can just select on them here to preview them. And let's say that we wanted this effect here. I could either drag this down to just that one clip, and that look has now been applied to that one clip. Or if I undo this, I can actually grab that look or that effect and I can drop it down here into the timeline. And then I could drag this out across my entire project to have all of my footage and all of my clips have that look applied. So that's the filters. I'm going to go ahead and remove this because the other way that you can adjust your colors and the way that I generally will do it is select the first clip. I want to come up here to adjustments. And then in here, we've got a bunch of tools to dial everything in. Again, there's a good mix of free and paid pro options in here. And for most people here, the basic area is going to be more than enough, but know that you do have some more advanced tools in here too. But under basic, if we scroll down here, what I would do first to start off with is I would adjust the brightness, so the exposure here of this shot. So I'd brighten it up or darken it down. Then second to that, I would be adjusting the contrast slider here. So we don't want to go too much with this, but maybe let's add a little bit of contrast. I would then come up to the color temperature here and get this set right. So this is where we can make any adjustments that might not have been right in our camera. So we can make the shot look more blue or more cool, or we could add some warmth to it by going the other way. So maybe somewhere around here. And then we can also adjust the saturation, so the intensity of the colors. You can see we could take the colors right out, or we can really boost them right up. So I'm thinking if this was the midpoint, I'd probably increase these a little bit. So maybe something like this. So a little before and after. This is obviously the after. This is what our shot looked like before, or the colors look like before, after, after. So a bit of an improvement. Now what we can do here is that there is a button here to apply to all. So we can hit on that and that's going to apply that to all of the other clips here in our timeline. So you want to go through on this step, you want to make any adjustments to the colors in any of your clips or any of your B-roll footage. And then it's time for us to export out our video. So we want to come up the top right-hand corner here to export. And then in here, we've got a bunch of settings that we can customize up if we'd like to. Now, for most people, these settings are probably going to be fine at default because they will be based off the primary footage that you brought into your timeline first. But we can, again, edit our project name here, our file name. We can choose where we want to save this out to. We can make adjustments. So if we don't want to export a 4K file in this case, and we want a lower quality version, 1080p version, then we can do that here. We can also make adjustments to our bitrate or the video quality. We can adjust the codec here if we need to, but then all we need to do is just hit export and our video is going to save out. Now, it is worth noting that if you're using the free version of CapCut, there will be no watermarks or anything if you're only using the free effects and everything that are built in. If you've used any that were marked as Pro, then you will have a watermark on your video unless you upgrade to the Pro version. So that's really your choice. Use the free effects and free tools, for free, or use the Pro ones and upgrade to Pro. But in all honesty, the free version is absolutely amazing. But I will link a video down in the description box below where we compare some of the free and Pro options here in CapCut. So now that you're up to speed with the fundamentals of editing in CapCut, for those of you that are looking for the next step from here, we've got a link in the description to our more advanced CapCut training, taking you from beginner to YouTuber in less than 4 hours. As always, there's a bunch of other resources and links down there to help you as well. And I will see you in the next video. Here's 7 crazy CapCut video editing features that you need to know about. These are game-changing CapCut AI tools that will speed up your workflow and level up your videos so that you can learn how to use CapCut to make amazing videos fast. Now, some of these features are totally free to use. Others have now moved to the Pro or the paid version of CapCut. But even if you are on the free version, you can try them out without paying so you can see just how awesome they are. And don't worry, we'll have marked on screen which ones are free and which ones are paid, at least at the time of filming this video. Now I'm going to be showing you this stuff on my iPhone, but you can do the same stuff on desktop as well. And let me know, what's your favorite CapCut video editing feature down in the comments below. So the first feature is automatic background removal. You don't need to worry about using a blue screen or a green screen anymore. CapCut does an amazing job at automatically removing the background from your videos. So you just want to select your clip in the timeline there and scroll across until you see remove BG down the bottom. And then when we press on this, we get a couple of options. The one I'm talking about here is the auto removal. So if we press on this here, you can see just how fast this is happening, but also that we can see a preview of this straight away. So it's gone ahead, it's removed the background for us. We can play through this right now to help you create portrait videos. So whether it's YouTube Shorts, TikTok, meaning that now we can add whatever we'd like in the background, but you also now have the ability as well to add a stroke or a cutout effect to this. So if we press stroke, you can see that we've got a mix of pro and free options here, but we can add some of these different effects and even change the color and things on them. There's even a cutout effect here as well, which looks pretty cool. But I'm just going to cancel back out of this. Let's apply the background removal. So that's done. Let's go ahead and bring in another clip that we can use in the background here. Let's pick this clip here. And now we just need to move this clip on top of the other one. So let's select on it and let's come across here to where it says overlay. Now we can pick it up and we can move it across. And you can see now that background has been cut out. And if we select that top clip, then we can pinch to zoom or scale it down and we can move it to where we'd like it. Pretty awesome. So the next one is auto captions. This is an amazing feature to have built into CapCut, and it's come a really long way since it was first released. So we want to come down to text down the bottom here, and we can choose auto captions. Now we can choose to automatically generate the text captions from either a voiceover that we've got on our clip, or we can choose the video itself. Then we get to choose our template of what we'd like the text to look like. Again, there's a good mix of free and pro templates in here for us to use. Now, what's really cool here is before we get to add the captions, we've now got 2 extra new features. The first one is bilingual captions, meaning that we can get captions added here into our video in different languages. So if we press on that, you can see here, there's a bunch in here to choose from. But you also have the ability in here to identify filler words. So it's transcribing your video and it knows when you're saying things like so, or when there's big pauses or gaps in your videos. And we can choose to have those removed as well. So I'm going to disable this for now. I'm just going to hit generate. So we can just add the captions to the video so you can see how awesome that is. And we can see straight away that we have those in here. So if I press play on this, here's my top 2 tools right now to help you create portrait videos. So whether it's YouTube Short, and again, all of this is fully customizable. And we can edit these titles either manually one by one, or we can choose down the bottom here, batch edit. And this is where we can go through and we can make adjustments to our captions from here. Now I'm going to hit undo on that one. We're going to go back in to add it again. So I'm going to come down here to auto captions. This time I am going to turn on identify filler words. And I'm going to hit generate. So not only now has it generated the captions for us in the theme or the template that we picked, but it's also gone through and it's suggesting edits for us to make. So we see down here, there is a pause for 2.58 seconds. And we can just press the button here, delete one clip, because that one is selected. And then we get the option here. Do we want to just delete the text, or do we actually want to remove that piece of the video? So we can go here, yes, delete both. But what's cool about this as well is we can essentially edit the video from editing the text. Actually, in this video, there is a piece that I would like to remove. If we're scrolling down, you can see that I've actually repeated the last section. For a full breakdown, check out the video linked here. And then I've said it again a couple of times below that. So we can just select the pieces that we want to remove. That's going to cut those from our video. So let's leave this one. For a full breakdown, let's remove these two pieces here. So it says for a full breakdown, check out the video linked on screen. We can then delete the two clips. Yes, delete both the captions and the clips. And that piece has now been removed from the video. It's been edited out. Now you can definitely do this on the desktop as well, and you actually get more control on the desktop, but this is a pro feature. So the next feature I want to show you is called Enhance Voice, and this works really, really well. So I've got this clip in my timeline here now, and if I play it, you hear it's got a lot of background noise. It's at the beach. This is a test. There is lots of background noise here, and a rainbow. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this Enhance Voice feature to this, and you'll see the difference it makes. So I want to select on the clip and come down the bottom here to Enhance Voice. And then we want to enable this. This is a test. There is lots of background noise here, and it's then going to go through and process the voice here. I'm going to apply this, and now let's play it and hear the difference. This is a test. There is lots of background noise here, and a rainbow. Pretty amazing. All that background noise, the wind, everything is gone. So that's Enhance Voice, which is amazing for removing a lot of background noise and making you sound better. But there's also another feature called Voice Isolation. I'll show you that one. I'll just turn off the Enhance Voice here. So we're back at just the original clip. But this time, instead of hitting Enhance Voice, I'm going to hit Isolate Voice. Now in here, we get to choose, do we want to keep the voice piece, or do we want to have everything but the voice? And where this works really well isn't necessarily with a clip like this. It works really well with music. So I'll show you that too. But let's just, for instance, choose keep voice. So I'm going to go through and it's going to isolate my voice from the background noise. This is a test. There is lots of background noise here, and a rainbow. We'll see how good this. So again, it's done a pretty good job of removing that background noise there. But I'll show you what that does with a music track. All right, so I've gone ahead now and I've imported some music tracks in here. We've got the music from Epidemic Sound, which is one of my favorite places to get music for your videos. It also helps us with copyright for this kind of videos. So I'm going to go ahead and play this now, and then we'll try to remove the vocals from the music.
Beneath the starlit sky, our love's secret line, like leaves we soar so high.
Okay, so maybe we'll cut it there at that point. So we're only going to be processing this first piece. Let's come down here to Isolate Voice, and let's choose Keep Voice. So in theory, this should have just removed the music and kept the vocals.
Beneath the starlit sky, our love's secret line, like leaves we soar so high.
That's pretty amazing. Let's try the other way around. So instead of keep voice, now let's go remove voice. Now let's hit play on this. I mean, it's not perfect, but that's pretty amazing. So that's voice isolation. The next awesome feature is smooth slow motion. So we're not just slowing things down here, we're actually creating amazing looking slow motion clips. So this does a whole lot of processing and essentially adds in a bunch of extra frames to make your slow motions smooth. So let's just use this same clip again here. There's a little bit of panning around in the background, and I reach up and point at the rainbow. Not the most exciting clip, but I'll show you what it does. So we've got the clip selected, come down the bottom here to speed. We're then going to choose just normal here at this point, but obviously you can get more advanced with this too. And you'll see to slow down, we can just lower the speed, anything less than 1. So let's go all the way down to say 0.2 for this. Let's just play it as is so you can see how jumpy or how jittery it is. Okay, so it's very jittery, it's very jumpy. Now, instead, this time, let's go back to adjust our speed. Let's keep it at the same speed, 0.2. But instead of just hitting the tick to apply this, we've got this drop-down box here, smooth slow motion. And you've got two options in here, faster processing or better quality. For best results, you want to pick better quality. Let's select that one. Let's hit the tick to apply this because it's going through and processing that for us. Okay, smooth motion has now been applied. Let's play this now and look at the difference. That's so much better. Even the waves in the background. It's really chalk and cheese between these two. Okay, that point, that wasn't great. Okay, but the rest of it, so much better. And I'll just hit undo here so you can see the difference. This was the before. The next feature is automatic color grading. I think this is absolutely awesome because normally this is something that I would suggest that you stay away from because they're all very mediocre at best. But this one actually does a really good job. So we want to make sure that our clip is selected. We want to come across here to where we can access the color controls. So we can choose adjust. And then the first one we've got here is auto adjust. So we've still got the ability to go through all of our stuff here manually. But if we just press auto adjust, then it's going to automatically make those adjustments for us. So you can see here before and after. Now with this slider down the bottom here, we can adjust the intensity of that. So if you don't quite like it to the degree that it's suggesting, then you can dial it back a bit. And you've also got the ability to jump across and to further dial things in using the regular tools as well. But this is an amazing starting point. And what I've found is it actually does a really good job. And feature number 7 is video quality. This is another awesome one. If you've got low quality video, then CapCut can up-res it and make it look much better. So I've got this really old live stream here. This was actually the first live stream on our channel nearly 9 years ago. Let's just have a quick listen.
Good morning. I think we're live. I'm just doing a quick check. This is the first time, or welcome to the first live stream on Primal Video.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's try and make it a little bit better. So if we select on it here, we can then scroll across down the bottom here to video quality. And in here, we have the ability to remove flickering. So if you've got flickering from any lights in your scene or strobing, we can take that out. We've also got reduced image noise. So if you've got really dark, grainy footage filmed in low light usually, then you can make that look better in here as well with the reduced image noise feature. But the one I want to show you here is the image quality one. So if we press here, image quality, it does say for this one that CapCut is going to upload your file or your media to their servers for processing. I'm going to choose OK for this. And then while that's happening, down the bottom, you can see we've got 2 different options. We can upgrade this to HD quality, or we can upgrade this to UHD, so 4K quality as well. Now, this might be hard for you guys to see, so I'm going to do the best that I can, but I'm going to ramp this up to UHD. I'm going to go ahead and let that process. Okay, so that one actually took a little bit of time to process, and I've only got here, if we look, this clip is only 1 minute 15, 1 minute 16 long. So it probably took about 5 minutes. But maybe I can flip this here on the side and we can take a look at this now. This is the up-resed version.
I think we're live. I'm just doing a quick check. This is the first time, or welcome to the first
I mean, first thoughts, it's definitely sharper. It looks like I've got some sort of beauty filter mode on, but even the detail on everything in the background is so much clearer.
live stream on Primal Video. Just
let me switch back to the other one and let's hit play on this.
trying to get everything sorted here last minute, but I think that we are live. And
so I'm not sure how well this is coming through with the phone screen recording and YouTube's compression and everything. It is so much clearer, so much crisper. It does look a lot better than the original, but I probably want to dial it down a little bit because it almost looks a little bit fake now. So there is a little instant preview button here. If I press it, you can see the difference here. This is on now, this is enhanced. And if I press this here, it just goes blurry. Again, I'm not sure how well you guys are going to see this, but it has made a huge difference. So this would be great for those of you that have got low quality footage lying around, or even stock footage that you're buying. If it's not at the quality that you need, it's awesome to have this function built into CapCut. Now, for those of you looking to get up to speed editing in CapCut, we've created a comprehensive training that'll take you from beginner to YouTuber in around 4 hours. We've got more details down in the description box below, but this is the ultimate training to get you up to speed in CapCut fast. There's also a bunch of other resources down there to help you as well, and I will see you in the next video.
ما هي وإن تخفوها وتؤتوها الفقراء فهو خير لكم ويكفر عنكم من سيئاتكم والله بما تعملون خبير ليس عليك هداهم ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء وما تنفقوا من خير فلأنفسكم وما تنفقون إلا ابتغاء وجه الله وما تنفقوا من خير يوفى إليكم وأنتم لا تظلمون للفقراء الذين أحصروا في سبيل الله لا يستطيعون ضربا في الأرض يحسبهم الجاهل أغنياء من التعفف تعرفهم بسيماهم لا يسألون الناس إلحافا وما تنفقوا من خير فإن الله به عليم الذين ينفقون أموالهم بالليل والنهار سرا وعلانية فلهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون الذين يأكلون الربا لا يقومون إلا كما يقوم الذي يتخبطه الشيطان من المس ذلك بأنهم قالوا إنما البيع مثل الربا وأحل الله البيع وحرم الربا فمن جاءه موعظة من ربه فانتهى فله ما سلف وأمره إلى الله ومن عاد فأولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون يمحق الله الربا ويربي الصدقات والله لا يحب كل كفار أثيم إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وأقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة لهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وذروا ما بقي من الربا إن كنتم مؤمنين فإن لم تفعلوا فأذنوا بحرب من الله ورسوله وإن تبتم فلكم رؤوس أموالكم لا تظلمون ولا تظلمون وإن كان ذو عسرة فنظرة إلى ميسرة وأن تصدقوا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون واتقوا يوما ترجعون فيه إلى الله ثم توفى كل نفس ما كسبت وهم لا يظلمون يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين إلى أجل مسمى فاكتبوه وليكتب بينكم كاتب بالعدل ولا يأب كاتب أن يكتب كما علمه الله فليكتب وليملل الذي عليه الحق وليتق الله ربه ولا يبخس منه شيئا فإن كان الذي عليه الحق سفيها أو ضعيفا أو لا يستطيع أن يمل هو فليملل وليه بالعدل واستشهدوا شهيدين من رجالكم فإن لم يكونا رجلين فرجل وامرأتان ممن ترضون من الشهداء أن تضل إحداهما فتذكر إحداهما الأخرى ولا يأبى الشهداء إذا ما دعوا ولا تسأموا أن تكتبوه صغيرا أو كبيرا إلى أجله ذلكم أقسط عند الله وأقوم للشهادة وأدنى ألا ترتابوا إلا أن تكون تجارة حاضرة تديرونها بينكم فليس عليكم جناح ألا تكتبوها وأشهدوا إذا تبايعتم ولا يضار كاتب ولا شهيد وإن تفعلوا فإنه فسوق بكم واتقوا الله ويعلمكم الله والله بكل شيء عليم وإن كنتم على سفر ولم تجدوا كاتبا فرهان مقبوضة فإن أمن بعضكم بعضا فليؤدي الذي اؤتمن أمانته وليتق الله ربه ولا تكتموا الشهادة ومن يكتمها فإنه آثم قلبه والله بما تعملون عليم لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وإن تبدوا ما في أنفسكم أو تخفوه يحاسبكم به الله فيغفر لمن يشاء ويعذب من يشاء والله على كل شيء قدير آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون إن الذين كفروا سواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة ولهم عذاب عظيم ومن الناس من يقول آمنا بالله وباليوم الآخر وما هم بمؤمنين يخادعون الله والذين آمنوا وما يخدعون إلا أنفسهم وما يشعرون في قلوبهم مرض فزادهم الله مرضا ولهم عذاب أليم بما كانوا يكذبون وإذا قيل لهم لا تفسدوا في الأرض قالوا إنما نحن مصلحون ألا إنهم هم المفسدون ولكن لا يشعرون وإذا قيل لهم آمنوا كما آمن الناس قالوا أنؤمن كما آمن السفهاء ألا إنهم هم السفهاء ولكن لا يعلمون وإذا لقوا الذين آمنوا قالوا آمنا وإذا خلوا إلى شياطينهم قالوا إنا معكم إنما نحن مستهزئون الله يستهزئ بهم ويمدهم في طغيانهم يعمهون أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى فما ربحت تجارتهم وما كانوا مهتدين مثلهم كمثل الذي استوقد نارا فلما أضاءت ما حوله ذهب الله بنورهم وتركهم في ظلمات لا يبصرون صم بكم عمي فهم لا يرجعون أو كصيب من السماء فيه ظلمات ورعد وبرق يجعلون أصابعهم في آذانهم من الصواعق حذر الموت والله محيط بالكافرين يكاد البرق يخطف أبصارهم كلما أضاء لهم مشوا فيه وإذا أظلم عليهم قاموا ولو شاء الله لذهب بسمعهم وأبصارهم إن الله على كل شيء قدير يا أيها الناس اعبدوا ربكم الذي خلقكم والذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون الذي جعل لكم الأرض فراشا والسماء بناء وأنزل من السماء ماء فأخرج به من الثمرات رزقا لكم فلا تجعلوا لله أندادا وأنتم تعلمون وإن كنتم في ريب مما نزلنا على عبدنا فأتوا بسورة من مثله ودعوا شهداءكم من دون الله إن كنتم صادقين فإن لم تفعلوا ولن تفعلوا فاتقوا النار التي وقودها الناس والحجارة أعدت للكافرين وبشر الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أن لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار كلما رزقوا منها من ثمرة رزقا قالوا هذا الذي رزقنا من قبل وأتوا به متشابها ولهم فيها أزواج مطهرة وهم فيها خالدون إن الله لا يستحيي أن يضرب مثلا ما بعوضة فما فوقها فأما الذين آمنوا فيعلمون أنه الحق من ربهم وأما الذين كفروا فيقولون ماذا أراد الله بهذا مثلا يضل به كثيرا ويهدي به كثيرا وما يضل به إلا الفاسقين الذين ينقضون عهد الله من بعد ميثاقه ويقطعون ما أمر الله به أن يوصل ويفسدون في الأرض أولئك هم الخاسرون كيف تكفرون بالله وكنتم أمواتا فأحياكم ثم يميتكم ثم يحييكم ثم إليه ترجعون هو الذي خلق لكم ما في الأرض جميعا ثم استوى إلى السماء فسواهن 7 سماوات وهو بكل شيء عليم وإذ قال ربك للملائكة إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة قالوا أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون وعلم
Here's 7 crazy CapCut video editing features that